Hello and welcome to the Candidates Forum. I'm Jared Fry, General Manager of Medina TV.
And I'm Jacqueline Rixmeyer with the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce. We are excited once again to partner with Medina TV to bring you the 2023 Candidates Forum. All candidates in contested races were invited to participate this year.
Yes, and the views of those candidates are not necessarily those of the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce or Medina TV.
Thank you for tuning in to watch our 2023 Candidates Forum. We appreciate your willingness to be informed about the upcoming election.
Joining us in studio now is the incumbent for the Clerk of Medina Municipal Court, Joe Salzgeber. Joe, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. Why don't you take a minute for people that may not know you and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Joe Salzgeber. I'm the incumbent Medina Municipal Court clerk. I was appointed to replace Nancy Abbott, the previous clerk, who retired midterm back in January of 2021. I was then elected in November of 2021 to complete the balance of her term.
Mm-hmm. So what was the driving force that made you decide to want to run again for the office?
Well, I was approached by Nancy Abbott before she retired, and she thought I would be a good candidate, in large part because I've been a prosecutor in the county for over 8 years, and I practiced extensively before the Medina Municipal Court, both as a prosecutor and then while in private practice. So over 22 years practicing before the court, either as a prosecutor or a private attorney. And then at that time I was serving as county recorder. So I was in a county position, managing an office with about 8 employees, comparable in size to the clerk's office. So Nancy approached me, told me she was going to retire, and I applied for the position, was appointed. It's been a good 2.5 years. You learn a lot. There are things, even as a prosecutor and attorney in that court, that you just don't know until you're in the position.
And a great segue for me. A lot of people here at home probably don't even know exactly what the clerk of the municipal court does. Maybe tell us a little bit about what the role is.
The clerk of courts is essentially the business office of the court. We take in the court's filings. Prosecutors, defense attorneys, private attorneys, and even pro se parties, people without attorneys, file documents in our court. There's also usually filing fees associated with those filings. So we take the paper, we take the payment, and we process those. Once a complaint is filed, whether it's on the civil side or the criminal side, or a traffic ticket is filed, we create an electronic file for that. We are now fileless because we use a computer system, but there's a lot of paper that flows through the court. We keep that for roughly a year before we shred it. So we're not saving it for a lengthy period of time due to our new case management system.
That's a great question too. How has the advancements in technology helped the clerk's office?
Well, I didn't realize the extent to which file storage is a big business until I got into this position. We had probably 1,000 boxes in storage from the court going back 20, 30 years. And that can be very expensive. Every time you want to access an archived file in storage out in Brecksville, there's a cost for that. There's a cost to file, there's a cost to close those boxes. So it's just, in order to save the taxpayers money on storage of ancient files that we really don't need to access very often, we scan everything in, so it's now going to be backed up on site on a computer. And we can access it instantaneously without having to pay storage costs. And it's not just unique to our court, the common pleas courts, the prosecutor's office are moving in the same direction.
What do you see as some of the biggest obstacles that face the office?
Post-COVID, we've seen a lot of changes in the way people behave. We are, just to give you an example, in 2019, the last pre-COVID year, we had about 14,500 cases come through the court. Last year, for 2002, the last complete year and full year after COVID, we're about 10,500 cases. So we're about 4,000 cases down. And some of that has to do with the way people behave. They don't go out late. A lot of people during COVID stayed home, binge watch Netflix and ordered food in, and a lot of that behavior has carried over since COVID. So people aren't out and about late at night. They're less likely to get a DUI. They're less likely to get a traffic stop of any kind.
Again, we're talking with Joe Salzgeber, the incumbent for the Medina, the clerk of the Medina Municipal Court. You just referenced the people that come through there. A lot of people, it could be their worst day ever coming through there. Some people, it could just be their first time ever being in there and being a little lost. And on top of that, you have the relationship with the judge and the magistrates that do their work. How do you handle those work relationships with the judge and magistrate, and then also with the constituents that come into the courtroom?
Well, the people that come into the court are what we say they're not really bad people. They're just, as one person said, sinners. They are people who have gotten a traffic ticket or a misdemeanor citation. They're not going to really go to jail. Very few people go to jail through the court. So it's usually a system of fines and court costs and maybe probation if necessary. So in dealing with the public, because you're not dealing with felony cases, you're not dealing with the very worst offenses. A lot of the people are people who just made mistakes or are sinners, as I call them. And we hope that they sin no more after they've been through the court system. My relationship with the judges and magistrates is a very good one. We obviously take our cues from them. They generate the paperwork that we process and send out after cases are completed. We work very closely with them on a day-to-day basis.
Good. Now, if reelected for the next term, what are some of the things you would like to accomplish during that next term?
Well, I'd like to see us improve our technology. Both the county and the municipal court have had some new filing systems put in place, new case management systems. And whenever you have a new case management system and shift from one to another, as you may know, there's always challenges in that. We took a case system from the 90s and had to import all the data into our new case management system, Pioneer Benchmark. And that's been a challenge. The county's facing a similar challenge with their new software, Tyler software, that they have. So it's technology is necessary to move ahead, to save money, but often your technology is about half the problem you have to deal with.
Well, and I guess that's a new thing too. As you mentioned before, you're going from all that paperwork you'd have in files to now a more streamlined effort with technology. How important is it that the office does keep up with advancements in technology?
I think it's very important because we're serving the public. It's their money that we ultimately their tax money that we're ultimately spending, that we're ultimately using, and they have a right to expect that we use that money wisely, that we don't have costs that are unnecessary. I'm harking back to what we talked a few minutes ago about, it costs a lot of money to store 1,000 boxes of old files. And if we can do that on site in a computer system, that saves the taxpayers money and it makes the information more accessible to them should they ever need it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Again, we're talking with Joe Salzgeber, the incumbent for the clerk of Medina Municipal Court. And Joe, I want to thank you for taking time to answer the questions I had for you, but I want to give you the opportunity. Anything I may have not mentioned or you'd like to tell the voters directly, floor is yours.
Yes, I'd urge the voters to support me on Election Day, November 7th of this year. I have the experience, honesty, and integrity that we need in our court officials in order to move the office forward.
Great. Again, that's Joe Salzgeber, the incumbent for the clerk of Medina Municipal Court. Joe, I want to thank you for your time today, and I want to wish you the best of luck this November.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.